I really want to get to this woman right here because what she had to say was sad. It was really sad, actually. It was really sad. So I'm going to play that for you right now.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Good afternoon to the city of Chicago. I am P. Ray of the 37th Ward. Chicago Red is our organization. Because we started this session with a prayer, I want to start my comment with the scripture. 1 Timothy 5:8 says, "But if any provide not for his own, and specifically for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel." So I want to talk to y'all today about not going to hell. In the 37th Ward, there was a family, the Jones family. Amarie Jones was standing in her family building that they've owned for 40 years doing a TikTok dance with her mother. A bullet came through the window, hit her in the neck. She fell to the ground in front of her mother and bled to death. A month ago, on the Chicago mugshot page, her mother was on that page. Her mother had on her daughter's Rest in Peace t-shirt. She washed it so many times that it was completely faded out. She was completely high, out of her mind, and the charge was possession. Now, the first $51 million that this council gave to the migrants came from the opioid settlement funds. I am here on behalf of the Jones family, on behalf of the 37th Ward, on behalf of Black Chicago, on behalf of the entire city, to ask you all to vote no and put that money back in the opioid settlement fund. We need that money in my neighborhood. We need that on my block. That woman should not be at Cook County Jail because she's grieving over a random act of violence that caused her to lose her child in front of her face, when the city of Chicago has millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to give to people who ain't paid a dime into the tax base.
Do you hear what she's saying? Did you hear the story that she just told? I have a son, right? He's 10 years old. Most of you know that already. I've talked about him on and off. So for me, when I hear stuff like that, it hits me a little different than how it might hit other people, or how it might hit you if your children are like adults already and they've been adults for some time now. This woman was doing a TikTok dance with her daughter in the living room. A bullet came through, and mind you, the white liberal, that's the guy that wants to get rid of Spot Shotter, right? A bullet came through, hit her daughter in the neck while they were doing a TikTok dance. She bled out and died in front of her mom. Her mom unable to deal with it, and Lord knows I don't, and most of us who are parents feel this. Knock on wood, if anything were to ever happen to my son, there's literally no reason for me to exist anymore. I don't need to be here. I don't need to be here. There's no reason for T to exist on planet Earth at that point if my son's not here with me. So that's I feel that's how I feel. So I understand, therefore, what has now happened to this woman in her struggle to cope with that. She has fallen into drugs, and instead of getting the help that she needs, she went to jail over it and has her mugshot circulated through a newspaper. Meanwhile, the funds that were supposed to be allocated and in place to help her is going to illegal immigrants participating in this mass asylum fraud orchestrated by Joe Biden. That is so criminal. That is so criminal. And as she's sitting up here articulating this and discussing this, Emperor Brandon Johnson, he's just sitting there with his hands in his pocket. He can give a doggone about what this woman is saying. Y'all know I don't like to curse. I don't curse on this channel, family channel. He could care less. He could care less. All those aldermen, they could care less. Emperor Brandon Johnson could care less about what she's saying. And for that matter, when anybody's talking about that's coming up there to air their grievances out, he can care less. There's about maybe 30 more seconds left in what she's saying. I'm going to play it out, and then we're going to close out today's stream. Let me rewind it back just a little bit. It's horrible, man. That is horrible.
A bullet came through the window, hit her in the neck. She fell to the ground in front of her mother and bled to death. A month ago on the Chicago mugshot page, her mother was on that page. Her mother had on her daughter's Rest in Peace t-shirt. She washed it so many times that it was completely faded out. She was completely high, out of her mind, and the charge was possession. Now, the first $51 million that this council gave to the migrants came from the opioid settlement funds. I am here on behalf of the Jones family, on behalf of the 37th Ward, on behalf of Black Chicago, on behalf of the entire city, to ask you all to vote no and put that money back in the opioid settlement fund. We need that money in my neighborhood. We need that on my block. That woman should not be at Cook County Jail because she's grieving over a random act of violence that caused her to lose her child in front of her face, when the city of Chicago has millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to give to people who ain't paid a dime into the tax base. We've been in my building for 52 years. We're about to pay some more taxes. The Jones family has been in their building for 45 years, paying taxes every year on time. So I'm asking y'all to use our tax money for our people. We need it. We got people leaning, we got people rocking, we got overdosing, we got pass out lines. You live on the west side, Mayor Johnson, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We need the money for us. We need opioid treatment on the west side of Chicago. We are the headquarters of the cartel, and everybody in here knows it. They selling more drugs than the law can allow, and y'all giving money back to them because they traffic those people up here, so we paying them going and coming. Absolutely not. We pay too much. It costs too much money to live in this city. Help Wanda Jones. Help every other grieving mother who feels like she has to go get high to get over the loss of her child. This is a woman who lived in that house. She still sleeps in that living room where her daughter passed out and bled to death. So I'm asking y'all to say no, put these people on the back burner, and put the money back in the opioid fund. We need that money. Thank y'all.
The money that's needed to deal with everything that woman just articulated is going to Biden's migrants. $1 billion has been spent, slashed, and committed so far. And to date, Brandon Johnson has spent / committed only $1 million to be broken down between 4 neighborhoods as situations like this occur, where he himself also wants to get rid of Spot Shotter the same way his white liberal pal, and our white liberal pal, was speaking on Black folks in Chicago's behalf as well, telling them what they do and don't need. Take that woman's story into consideration, and you tell me. I think they need Spot Shotter where she's at. It sounds like they need Spot Shotter. White liberal says, no, you don't need it. That's what he said. He said, you don't need it. Sounds like they do when horrific things like that are happening. Sounds like they need Spot Shotter. It sounds like they need funds going into these neighborhoods for drug prevention and things of that nature, but it's not. Our white liberal friend, our ally who cares so much about Black folks, white liberal / Democrat progressive, he said 70 million isn't enough. We need to spend even more money. There's no such thing as too much. Wherever you got to get it from, even if you're getting it from programs and money that was allocated to help people like the woman she just discussed, even if you had that money that was going to them, snatch it out of that community and give it to Biden's migrants.